I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Tuesday, April 9th. Roll call shows that all commissioners are present with the exception of Debbie Robertson, who is excused. We would like to have an invocation by Commissioner Clark, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Behrens, correct? Thank you. If everyone who'd like to join us would please rise.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this opportunity we have to gather as a Planning and Zoning Commission and to discuss the needs and the issues facing the Shola community. We are thankful to live in this area, the beautiful surroundings that we have. We are grateful for the moisture we've received this winter that has replenished our reservoirs and our lakes and our aquifers. We are grateful for that. We know that it was a dire situation the last few years, and we are grateful for the blessings that we received through this moisture and the opportunity that we have this coming summer for the recreation and the great opportunities that are afforded because of the moisture for the community. We are thankful, Father, to live in a community where we are able to know one another and to be friendly and kind and compassionate. We're thankful for the warm hearts of the people in this community. And we pray that tonight as we discuss the needs of the community, that thy Spirit will be upon us, that will help us to make decisions in a equitable manner, and that we might be able to discuss these issues without any contention or without any kind of malice towards one another, but that we might feel free to openly discuss these issues and come to the best conclusion for the Shola area and for the citizens. And we ask all these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that brings us to our first item of business, 5A, old business, which is election of officers. For those of you familiar with the Planning and Zoning Commission, the fact that I open the meeting is a little unusual. Usually that's done by either the chairman or the vice chair. However, the chairman's seat is currently vacant due to reappointment that was made. Our current chair chose not to reapply, and our vice chair was unable to make the meeting this evening. So the process will be nominations would need to be made for the chairman position. There is no need for a second on these nominations. So we will open the floor for nominations. There can be more than one. Following closing the nominations, a vote would be taken. And that person then, whoever's successful, would be named the chairman for the Planning and Zoning Commission. That term usually runs for a period of 1 year. Following the voting for the chair, we would follow the same process for the vice chair, and that term also runs for a period generally of 1 year. Once we have done that, we'll take a brief recess. We may need to shuffle some chairs, some people, and some name tags around, and we're going to move this gavel to whoever's elected to the chair, and then the new chairman will run the meeting from that point on. So with that, I would open the floor for nominations for the position of chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Commissioner Bishop.
I nominate Commissioner Clark for chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, we have a nomination for Commissioner Clark. Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of naming Commissioner Clark as chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, please indicate.
Aye.
And if there's anyone opposed, seeing none, okay. We then would open for the position of vice chair. Would look for nominations for that position.
I would nominate Eric Bishop as the vice chairman.
Okay, we have a nomination. Commissioner Bishop, is that accepted or,
Yes.
okay? Are there any other nominations? All right, at this point, we would call for a vote. All those in favor of naming Commissioner Bishop as vice chair for a period of 1 year, please indicate.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? Doesn't look like any. So with that, we'll go ahead and move people around a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. All right.
I'll move to Brett's seat.
Nice.
Mr. Chair, it looks like the name tags match the faces behind them, so I will turn the meeting over to you at this point.
Do we get anything besides a gavel for the promotion? No pay increase or anything?
We update the name tag.
Oh, that's all. That's all. Well, I appreciate Mr. Commissioner Bishop, your nomination. I appreciate your guys' trust in me. I hope I don't mess up too bad the next year or so. With that, we're going to go to item number 6A, new business, consideration of conditional use permit application submitted by Floyd and Christina Etchinson to allow an expansion of a non-conforming structure on property located at 561 South 8th Avenue, that being APN 21012-013. And with that, I'll ask staff for your report.
Floyd and Christine Etchison have submitted a conditional use permit application, or CUP, to allow for the expansion of a non-conforming structure located at 561 South 8th Avenue, that being APN 21012-013. According to county records, the home on the subject property was built in 1961. This was prior to the establishment of a building department in the city of Show Low. Also add, it was prior to zoning regulations being in place. This home is a legally established non-conforming structure that does not meet current setbacks. The subject property is currently zoned R17, single-family residential, 7,000 square feet. In June of 1989, the owner of the subject property at the time wanted to add a 12-foot by 26-foot metal awning on the east side of the home. Due to the fact that the home is only 10 feet from the street side property line along West Reed Head, instead of 20 feet, as is currently required by our zoning code, the awning would be located in the required setback area. Because the home was built in 1961 prior to the establishment of the building department and the zoning code, a use permit was required to add on to the existing home. At their regular meeting of June 12, 1989, the Planning and Zoning Commission granted UP 89016 to allow for a 12-foot by 26-foot metal awning. The property owner then obtained building permit 89262 to build the awning on June 20th of 1989. The storm damaged the awning sometime during early 2012, and it was subsequently removed. The Etchisons purchased the subject property in 2012 after the awning was removed. The applicants have submitted a building permit application to the city for a new 12-foot by 24-foot porch to be built where the metal awning was previously located. The new covered porch will not extend any closer to the street than the existing legal non-conforming home. Due to the fact that the original awning was not replaced within a year of removal, a new conditional use permit is required. The building permit for the porch will not be approved unless this CUP is approved. City Code Section 15143C1 states, quote, "The lawful use of land, building, or structure existing at the time of the passage of this division, although such does not conform to the provisions hereof or said land, building, or structure, may be continued, but if such non-conforming use is discontinued for a period of 12 months, it shall be considered abandoned, and future use of said land or structure shall be in conformity with the provisions of this division." End quote. City Code defines a non-conforming structure as a structure which was lawfully erected prior to the adoption of this ordinance, but which, under this division, does not conform with the standards of development and construction, lot coverage, yard spaces, height of structures, distance between structures, or other standards prescribed in the regulations for the district in which the structure is located. Per section 15-1-43F of the City Code, a legal, non-conforming structure may be expanded through a conditional use permit. The findings of fact are as follows. The current zoning of the surrounding properties includes to the north, south, and east R17, or single-family residential, 7,000 square feet, and to the west C2, or general commercial. The current land uses of the surrounding properties includes to the north, south, and east, and to the, residential to those three, and to the west, vacant commercial. That vacant commercial is owned by Northland Pioneer College. It's not currently developed. However, we anticipate there will be plans submitted at some time to develop that portion of the Northland Pioneer or NPC campus. Transmittal memos were sent to all affected agencies. Applicable comments received include from APS, or Arizona Public Service. Customer states no more than 12 inches of overhead crossing the rooftop. APS is approved with no conflict. The property was posted and letters were sent to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. Staff was contacted by several individuals regarding the nature of the CUP. However, there was no opposition stated. After reviewing the standards for review, the zoning ordinance, discussions with the applicant, the Etchinsons may be artists, but we're not referring to them at this. And because the request is consistent with the City of Show Low General Plan, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve conditional use permit 602-04218 submitted by Floyd and Christine Etchison to allow for the expansion of a non-conforming structure located at 561 South 8th Avenue, that being APN 210-12013, subject to the following condition. Number one, all development shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements, including building permit requirements. And two, no further expansions are allowed unless approved through future conditional use permits. Before I turn it over to the commission for questions, I'd like to refer to the submitted site plan. This was submitted with the building permit application. Basically, to sum up what I just went through, the property is located at the corner of West Reedhead and South 8th Avenue. There is an existing home on the property, approximately 24 feet wide and 34 feet long. What they are proposing to do is add a porch, a covered porch on the east side of that home. That porch is approximately 12 foot deep and 24 feet wide, matching the width of the existing home. It would not project any closer to West Reedhead than what the existing home does. With that, staff as well as the property owner, the applicant, are available for questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dragaskis. Is there any questions for staff at this time from the commission?
I have
Commissioner Adams?
Over here on the east side here, is this the shed that was, so the shed was out a little longer into the property than this porch will be, is that correct?
Correct. There is a storage shed on the property. Our understanding is that that shed does meet requirements. It's really not part of the application. All they are looking to do is add that covered porch onto the backside of the home.
So the old porch is where the old shed is where this porch is going?
No. So the porch that was referenced in the staff report as obtaining a use permit back in '89 that was damaged by a storm and subsequently removed, that actually was in the same location as where the proposed porch is requested to be located now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission for staff? All right, seeing none. Does any of the commission have questions for the applicant? All right. Is there anybody in the public who would like to come forward and comment on this item at this time? All right, seeing nobody come forward, I'm going to bring it back to the commission for discussion and possible entertaining a motion for either approval or denial. Is there any discussion about it? Does anybody have any questions or comments or any issues? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve CUP permit 602-04-218 submitted by Floyd and Christine Atkinson to allow for the expansion of a non-conforming structure at 561 South 8th Avenue, that being APN number 210-12-013, subject to the staff recommendation.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Second by Commissioner Hepner. With that, I will call for a vote. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. Tregaskis.
There is a 7-day appeal period with any conditional use permit, provided that no appeal is received by the city clerk within those 7 days. This conditional use permit will become effective.
All right. Thank you, folks. With that, we'll go to item number 7, call to the public. If any member of the public would like to come forward and speak to the commission, we'll go ahead and read the boilerplate language. If not, we'll go ahead and forego that. You folks have a good night. Thank you for coming. With that, we'll go to item number 8, approval of minutes. I believe everybody received the minutes from March 12, 2019. Do I have a motion?
I
Motion.
move to accept.
All right. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That brings us to summary of current events. I'll just, for our new members, let that, this is an opportunity for you to kind of talk about things that are happening in the community, things that you feel are pertinent and important for the commission to know about, as well as members of the public. We usually start at the far end, so I'm going to start with Commissioner Adams. And if you have anything you'd like to report.
None at this time.
All right.
No real report. Glad to be here, and this is fun so far.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Great to have new members and a new commissioner, and I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, I'd just like to welcome the new commissioners.
I will go to Mr. Tregaskis before I take my turn.
Certainly. First of all, I'd like to also add my congratulations and gratitude to our new commissioners. Somehow they both ended up getting stuck at the far end next to each other. Always good to see when we have citizens that are concerned and interested with what's going on in the city and are willing to step up to the plate and serve in a capacity, whether it be the Planning and Zoning Commission or any of the other committees or boards that we have. So first of all, I'd like to thank them for being willing to do that. Secondly, I'd like to inform the commission that 2 weeks from tonight at 6 o'clock, not at 7, we are having new boards and commission training that'll take place. We would like to invite all existing members, whether they're new or not, to attend that. We're going to cover such things as the open meeting law, ex parte communications, why we do certain things in meetings, Robert's Rules of Procedure, that type of thing. So certainly our 2 new members, sorry to break it to you, but you're basically required to be there. The other 5, not necessarily required, but we would strongly encourage you to come. We think that would be a worthwhile refresher for you as well. And with that, Chair, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, what was the date and time of that again, Mr. Tregaskis?
That's April 23rd at 6 p.m.
And that's in this room here,
Yes.
6 p.m.? Okay. All right. Well, for me, I want to welcome Josh and Rob. I've been friends with them for a very long time. I think they're going to be a tremendous asset to the commission. I love the fact that we had to have interviews and go through the process, and that we had to kind of decide because we had more applicants than we had positions, and that's great. When Commissioner John Adams and myself were appointed, we were the only 2 applicants for the positions, and so to see the interest in the Planning and Zoning Commission, I applaud you for your willingness to step up and serve, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I appreciate your guys' confidence in me being the chairman, and I look forward to serving in that capacity. One other thing I would just like to say is there is what we call the Victim Symposium that's happening this Friday. The county attorney's office is putting it on. What it is, it's an opportunity for members of the community to get together with other law enforcement, government entities to kind of understand what happens to our victims when they go through a traumatic event. They kind of get thrust into the court system. And that last year, our keynote speaker was Elizabeth Smart. And this year, the theme and topic is going to be victims of elder abuse. And so a lot of people, we kind of out of sight, out of mind, we don't realize what happens when those things happen. And so the Victim Symposium is a good opportunity to kind of become aware of what's happening and figure out ways that you can become better engaged in helping out victims of crime. So I would encourage anybody who would like to participate in that to go on the Navajo County Attorney's website, and you can register for that. And I believe it's on Friday at MPC in Snowflake. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting, the regular meeting.